when life feels silent and nothing seems to be changing. You pray, you wait, and you wonder if your breakthrough has been forgotten, but this message reminds you that delay is not denial. Sometimes the greatest blessings are prepared in hidden seasons. What is coming to you may require just a little more patience because a surprise is already being arranged beyond what you can see. The season you are in may feel slower than you expected. You may have imagined that by now things would already be different, doors would already be open, and answers would already be clear. Instead, you find yourself standing in a place of waiting, asking why progress feels delayed and why the promise in your heart has not appeared yet. But this waiting season is not empty, and it is not meaningless. There is purpose inside it, even if you cannot fully understand it today. Many people believe that growth only happens when something exciting is taking place. They think progress only exists when they can see results, recognition, success, or visible movement. But some of the most important changes happen in silence. A seed beneath the ground looks invisible to everyone, yet it is developing roots before it ever reaches the surface. In the same way, your life may be building strength underneath what others can see. This waiting period may be shaping parts of you that success alone could never create. It may be teaching patience when you wanted speed. It may be building wisdom where there was once confusion. It may be creating stability before responsibility arrives. Sometimes the blessing is delayed because the person receiving it is still becoming ready for it. You have probably asked questions during this season. You may have wondered if your efforts matter. You may have looked around and seen others moving ahead while you remain in the same place. Comparison can make waiting feel heavier. It can convince you that you are behind, forgotten, or left out. But every path has its own Timmy, NG, and every journey carries a different assignment. The purpose of waiting is not punishment. It is preparation. There are moments when life slows down because something greater is being arranged. The pause is not there to stop you. It is there to strengthen you. It gives you time to grow into the person who can carry what is coming next. Think about the dreams you hold inside. Maybe they are connected to success, restoration, opportunity, peace, or a new beginning. Those dreams matter, but the process matters too. If everything arrived instantly, many lessons would never be learned. Character would remain unfinished, strength would remain untested, faith would remain shallow. Waiting has a way of revealing what is truly inside you. It shows your fears, your hopes, your hidden doubts, and your deepest desires. It brings you face to face with the parts of yourself that usually stay hidden during busy seasons. While that can feel uncomfortable, it can also become one of the greatest periods of transformation. This season may also be protecting you from things you cannot yet see. Sometimes what looks like delay is actually protection. A closed door today may save you from regret tomorrow. A postponed opportunity may lead you towards something far better. Not every pause is loss. Some pauses are guidance. You do not have to measure progress only by visible results. Progress can look like staying hopeful when nothing changes. Progress can look like continuing when it would be easier to quit. Progress can look like becoming stronger while the outside world sees nothing different. The waiting season is doing more than you realize. It is shaping your perspective. It is building your endurance. It is creating depth where there was once impatience. It is preparing space for something that requires a stronger version of you. There is purpose in this quiet moment. There is meaning in the delay. The silence is not empty, and the waiting is not wasted. Every unseen lesson, every hidden change, and every moment of endurance is becoming part of the story that is still unfolding before you see the surprise that has been quietly forming behind the scenes for longer than you know. For longer than you know, things may have been moving in ways you could never measure with your eyes. This is one of the hardest truths to accept during a waiting season because people naturally trust what they can see. When there is visible progress, hope feels easy. When there is silence, questions become louder. Yet some of the greatest changes in life begin where human vision ends. You may feel like nothing is happening because the door has not opened yet. The opportunity has not arrived. The message has not come. The breakthrough has not appeared. But hidden work does not mean absent work. There are seasons when everything important happens behind closed doors, away from attention, away from applause, and far beyond your understanding. Think about how many moments in life are E. Prepared in secret. A builder does not start with the finished house. The foundation is placed first, often unseen. An artist does not reveal the masterpiece at the first stroke. Time is spent shaping details that nobody notices in the beginning. In the same way, what is being prepared for you may still be in its hidden stage. You may have been asking, if something good is coming, why can't I see any sign? Sometimes the answer is simple. Not every preparation announces itself. Some blessings arrive quietly. Some changes happen gradually. Some surprises are formed in silence so they can appear with strength later. There may be people entering your future who do not even know your name yet. There may be opportunities developing in places you have never visited. There may be answers moving toward you while you believe everything is standing still. Life has a way of connecting moments that seem unrelated until the full picture appears. This hidden season is teaching trust beyond evidence. It asks you to keep moving even when certainty is missing. It asks you to believe that unseen work still matters. That is difficult because human nature wants proof before peace. But growth often asks for peace before proof. You may look back one day and realize that what felt like inactivity was actually preparation. The closed doors gave you direction. The silence gave you clarity. The delay gave you maturity. The waiting protected you from rushing into something unfinished. There are details being arranged that you cannot control. Timing, people, opportunities, lessons, and unexpected moments all carry their own place in the story. You only see today, but the path ahead may already hold connections that will make sense later. Do not underestimate quiet seasons. They often carry hidden movement. The roots beneath the ground continue growing even when the surface looks unchanged. In the same way, your future can be expanding while your present feels still. Maybe you expect dramatic signs. Maybe you thought the surprise would arrive with immediate change and instant answers. But sometimes the greatest transformations begin gently. A new thought, a restored hope, an unexpected conversation, a small opportunity. A shift that seems ordinary at first but later becomes the turning point. The unseen work is not always around you. Sometimes it is happening within you. Your mindset is changing. Your patience is growing. Your perspective is becoming deeper. You are becoming someone who can hold more, understand more, and endure more than before. Hidden preparation often creates visible results later. The world usually notices the arrival but never sees the process. People celebrate the moment of breakthrough while remaining unaware of the silent season that made it possible. So while everything appears quiet, something may still be moving. While answers seem delayed, pieces may still be coming together. While you stand in uncertainty, unseen work may already be preparing the path ahead, arranging moments that will eventually arrive at exactly the time they were meant to appear, leading toward a surprise that will feel unexpected yet perfectly placed in your journey because its timing was never accidental and its arrival was always meant to happen at the right moment for your life, and your story continues toward that appointed time, where what seemed delayed will finally reveal its purpose and meaning as the next season begins to unfold slowly before you, a new season may begin to unfold slowly, and as it does, you may start realizing something important. What seemed delayed was never truly late. What felt forgotten was never truly abandoned. The timing may not have matched your expectations, but that does not mean it was wrong. Sometimes the greatest surprises arrive at the exact moment they are needed, not the moment they are requested. You may have spent nights wondering when things would change. You may have imagined different dates, different outcomes, and different timelines in your mind. You expected the answer sooner. You thought the breakthrough would happen already. Yet life often moves according to a rhythm that cannot be rushed. There is a difference between being late and being prepared. Something can arrive quickly and still not be right. It can appear early and still not be ready. Timing is more than speed. Timing is alignment. It is the moment when preparation, opportunity, growth, and purpose finally meet. Many people miss this truth because they only focus on waiting. They count the days, the months, and the delays. They measure time by absence instead of preparation. But sometimes the extra season is not there to keep you from the blessing. It is there to bring everything into place. Think about moments in your own life when something arrived later than expected but turned out better because of it. Perhaps you met the right person after meeting the wrong ones. Perhaps an opportunity came after rejection. Perhaps a closed path forced you toward a better direction. At first it looked disappointing, but later it revealed wisdom. The surprise waiting for you may be following this same pattern. It may already exist beyond your sight, moving toward you through details you cannot yet understand. What feels distant today may already be closer than you think. You do not need to force every door open. You do not need to chase every possibility in fear that you will miss your moment. What belongs in your journey does not require panic. It requires readiness. The right time has a way of creating its own confirmation. This season is not asking you to stop dreaming. It is asking you to trust the process while the dream is still forming. There are parts of the story you have not reached yet. There are conversations not yet spoken. There are opportunities not yet visible. There are answers still traveling through time. You may look around and feel pressure because others seem ahead of you. Someone else receives good news. Someone else reaches a milestone. Someone else enters their next chapter while you remain waiting. But comparison creates false urgency. Another person's timing is not your timing. Your path carries its own pace. Your preparation carries its own depth. Your surprise carries its own arrival. The right moment is often invisible while it is approaching. It does not announce itself from far away. It moves quietly. One ordinary day becomes extraordinary. One simple moment changes direction. One unexpected opportunity opens a new chapter. That is why you cannot judge your future by your current silence. The absence of visible results does not mean the story has stopped. It may simply mean the next page has not been turned yet. Imagine receiving something before you were emotionally ready to hold it. Imagine entering a new season without the strength required for it. Sometimes delay creates capacity. It gives you room to grow into the life that is coming. Every lesson, every pause, every hidden adjustment may be part of that preparation. You are not standing outside the process. You are inside it. The surprise waiting ahead is not meant to appear randomly. It is meant to arrive when its meaning becomes deeper, when its value becomes clearer, and when you can finally understand why the journey took longer than expected. There may come a moment when everything connects. The waiting, the silence, the uncertainty, the unanswered questions, all of it suddenly makes sense. You will see that what felt slow was actually precise. What felt distant was actually approaching. What seemed delayed was simply moving according to a perfect moment that had been forming quietly long before you ever realized it was on its way toward you, and the season of preparation will continue shaping your heart as patience begins building a strength you never knew was growing inside you. A strength may already be growing that you have not fully recognized yet. The waiting season has not only been about what is coming toward you, it has also been about what is being built within you. Patience is doing work that is easy to overlook because it does not create instant results. It moves quietly, shaping your character one moment at a time. At the beginning of this journey, you may have believed patience simply meant standing still and enduring delay. You thought it was only about surviving the silence until something changed. But patience is much more than waiting. It is remaining steady while uncertainty exists. It is holding hope when evidence feels small. It is continuing forward even when the destination cannot yet be seen. This kind of strength is not created overnight. It develops through moments that seem ordinary. Every time you choose faith over fear, something grows. Every time you refuse to quit, something becomes stronger. Every time disappointment tries to convince you to give up and you still move forward, endurance begins taking deeper roots. There were probably days when you wanted immediate answers, days when the silence felt too long, days when you wondered if continuing was worth it. Those moments matter more than you realize because hidden strength is often born during private battles. Most people admire visible success, but they rarely see the invisible process behind it. They notice confidence but not the struggles that built it. They celebrate victories but overlook the nights of uncertainty. Strength is usually created in places where nobody is watching. Your waiting season may be one of those places. You are learning how to stand when emotions shift. You are learning how to remain focused when progress feels slow. You are learning how to keep your vision alive even when circumstances seem unchanged. These lessons are becoming part of you. Patience also changes perspective. At first, you may have viewed delay as an enemy. You wanted to escape it as quickly as possible. But over time, you begin seeing things differently. You realize that not every pause is meant to stop you. Some pauses prepare you. Think about how different life feels when you stop fighting every delay and start asking what it might be teaching. Suddenly, the season changes meaning. The waiting becomes a classroom instead of a prison. The silence becomes space for growth instead of proof of failure. This does not mean the process is easy. Patience still stretches you. It still challenges your emotions. It still asks you to believe before results appear. But difficulty does not mean the process lacks value. The person you are becoming through this season may be stronger than the person who first entered it. You may have more wisdom now, more understanding, more self-control, more resilience. The things that once shook you may not shake you the same way anymore. The fears that once controlled you may have less power than before. That is growth. And growth is one of the hidden gifts of waiting. Length built through patience lasts differently because it is tested. It is not borrowed confidence. It is earned endurance. It comes from staying through moments that try to break your hope. There may still be days when impatience returns. Days when you question the timeline again. That does not erase your progress. It simply reminds you that growth is still happening. Do not underestimate the value of becoming stronger while waiting. The surprise ahead may require the exact endurance this season is creating. You are not the same person who started this journey. The delay has changed you. The silence has taught you. The process has shaped you. And while you continue moving through this season, something else may begin appearing around you. Small changes, quiet signs, tiny shifts that seem unimportant at first. Yet these little moments may carry more meaning than expected, because sometimes great breakthroughs do not arrive all at once. They begin with small signals that quietly announce a larger change already moving closer toward your life and future, without drawing attention to themselves at the beginning of the story. Those small signals may seem easy to ignore. You may look at them and think they are ordinary moments with no special meaning. A conversation that happens unexpectedly, a new idea that enters your mind, a sudden sense of peace after weeks of uncertainty, a tiny opportunity that appears when you least expect it. None of these things may look like a breakthrough at first, but sometimes major changes begin in very quiet ways. People often expect transformation to arrive with dramatic signs. They imagine instant success, immediate answers, and obvious confirmation. They look for something so large that it cannot be missed. But many life-changing seasons begin with details that appear small. A single decision can redirect years of your future. One connection can open a door you never imagined. One lesson can change the way you see everything. The beginning is not always loud. You may already be standing near signs of change without realizing it. Perhaps your mindset is shifting. Maybe you are thinking differently than before. The fear that once controlled you may be losing strength. The hope you thought had disappeared may slowly be returning. These internal changes matter because outer transformation often follows inner growth. Look closely at the little things around you. Maybe you have more peace now than you had months ago. Maybe you react differently to disappointment. Maybe you recover faster after difficult moments. Maybe you have started believing again after a season of doubt. These are not small victories. They are evidence that movement exists. Sometimes the breakthrough begins within before it appears around you. There are also moments when life sends quiet invitations toward the next chapter. An unexpected opportunity appears. A new direction catches your attention. A conversation stays in your mind longer than usual. Something begins pulling you toward change. At first it feels insignificant. Later you realize it was the beginning. Many people miss these moments because they only watch for giant events. They ignore the small steps that lead toward larger outcomes. But great stories are often built from tiny pieces connected over time. Think about a sunrise. Darkness does not disappear all at once. Light enters gradually. The horizon changes little by little until the entire sky becomes different. Breakthroughs can follow the same pattern. The first sign may simply be renewed energy. The next sign may be unexpected clarity. Then comes a new opportunity. Then another open door. Suddenly the season changes. What looked insignificant becomes important. What looked random reveals purpose. What looked ordinary becomes part of something larger. This is why you cannot dismiss the small movements happening now. The surprise waiting for you may already be introducing itself in ways that seem simple today. You may not have the complete picture yet, and that is okay. Progress does not require full understanding. Sometimes you only receive enough light for the next step. Pay attention to what is growing. Pay attention to what keeps returning to your heart. Pay attention to the doors that gently begin opening. Pay attention to the strength that continues rising inside you. The little changes matter because they often arrive before the major shift. There may come a moment when you look back and realize the breakthrough did not suddenly appear. It had been approaching all along through details you once considered unimportant. Every small sign carried a message. Every quiet shift pointed somewhere. Every hidden change was moving the story forward. And while these signs continue gathering around you, another challenge may appear. The temptation to walk away too soon. The feeling that the process has taken too long. The urge to stow. Believing just before the answer arrives. Yet some people leave the journey at the exact moment they are closest to the change they have been waiting for, never realizing that the distance between their struggle and their breakthrough had become smaller than ever before, as the next stage quietly prepared itself beyond their sight, and just ahead of their next step, forward into the unfolding path still waiting for them. Still waiting for them is a moment they cannot yet see, and this is where many people face one of their greatest battles. It is not the beginning of the journey that feels hardest. In the beginning, hope is usually strong. Energy is high. Expectations feel alive. The real challenge often comes later, when time has passed, answers feel delayed, and the process seems longer than expected. This is the point where many people think about leaving. They begin asking themselves if continuing still matters. They wonder whether the effort is worth it. They question if the dream was real or if the waiting has simply gone on too long. You may have stood in that place yourself. Maybe there were moments when you felt tired of hoping. Maybe disappointment repeated itself so many times that protecting your heart felt easier than believing again. Maybe you thought walking away would hurt less than staying. But there are seasons when the greatest danger is not failure. It is quitting too early. Sometimes people leave the process while the answer is still forming. They stop moving while the breakthrough is still approaching. They give up during the final stretch because the silence convinced them nothing was changing. The difficult part is that you rarely know how close you are. Life does not always announce, just a little longer. It does not place signs on the road saying, the turning point is near. Often the path remains quiet until the moment everything changes. That is why endurance matters. You do not need endless strength for the entire journey today. Why? You only need enough courage for the next step, one more day of faith, one more decision to continue, one more moment of refusing to surrender. Small perseverance creates powerful outcomes. Think about how many stories would never exist if people had stopped at the hardest chapter. The victory would have remained hidden. The opportunity would have stayed undiscovered. The new beginning would never have been reached. The process you are in may feel long, but length does not determine value. Some journeys take more time because they carry deeper preparation. Some answers arrive later because they require more pieces. Some surprises wait because their impact belongs to a different moment. This does not mean you ignore your emotions. It is okay to admit that waiting is difficult. It is okay to feel tired. Strength is not pretending everything feels easy. Strength is continuing even when the road becomes heavy. You have already come farther than you think. Look at who you were with when this journey started. Look at what you have survived. Look at the lessons you carry now. Look at the resilience that exists inside you. The version of you standing here today is not the same person from before. That growth matters. And perhaps this is not the season to turn back. Perhaps this is the season to remain, to stay present, to keep believing, to continue moving even when certainty feels incomplete. Because the answer may not be far away. The change may not be distant. The surprise may already be closer than your emotions realize. Many people think breakthrough begins with arrival, but sometimes it begins with endurance. The decision not to quit becomes the bridge between waiting and fulfillment. You do not know what tomorrow carries. You do not know what conversation may happen next. You do not know what opportunity may appear. You do not know what hidden door may open. The story is still moving. The process is still alive. The path is still unfolding. And somewhere beyond this season, another truth waits quietly. The delay itself is temporary. The heaviness will not last forever. The silence has an ending. The waiting has a horizon. Beyond this chapter, there is joy preparing its arrival, a new atmosphere rising beyond the struggle, and a moment approaching when what once felt impossible will begin looking different as hope slowly turns into something visible standing just beyond the season you are walking through now, and the next part of the journey begins to reveal the joy that has been waiting on the other side of the delay. On the other side of the delay, that joy may already be waiting, even if you cannot see it yet. Right now, the season you are living in may still feel heavy. The questions may still exist. The answers may still seem distant, but every waiting season has a boundary. Every silent chapter reaches a turning point. Nothing stays hidden forever. You have walked through uncertainty. You have carried hope while facing delays. You have remained in the process when it would have been easier to leave. That journey matters because it has brought you closer to a moment that once felt impossible to imagine. Many people believe joy only begins when everything becomes perfect. They think peace arrives only when every problem disappears. But real joy often begins before circumstances fully change. It starts when hope returns. It rises when purpose becomes visible again. It grows when you realize the story is still moving. The delay may have convinced you that nothing good was ahead. The silence may have whispered that the waiting would never end. The disappointment may have tried to rewrite your expectations. But the journey has been leading somewhere all along. Look back for a moment at everything this season has taught you. You entered with questions and discovered endurance. You entered with impatience and found strength. You entered searching for answers and gained deeper understanding. It changed you. Not by breaking you, but by shaping you. Not by stopping you, but by preparing you. And now you stand closer to the next chapter than you were before. Joy often arrives quietly at first. It may enter through a small victory, a new opportunity, a restored connection, a fresh direction, an unexpected answer. The surprise does not always announce itself with noise. Sometimes it appears gently, almost unnoticed, until you realize life is no longer the same. There may come a day when you remember this season differently. The delay that once frustrated you may become the chapter that protected you. The silence that once confused you may become the place where growth happened. The waiting that once felt endless may become proof that timing had meaning. That realization changes everything, because suddenly you no longer see the journey as lost time. You see it as preparation. You see it as refinement. You see it as the road that carried you towards something larger. And perhaps that surprise is already closer than you think. Perhaps the answer has already started moving. Perhaps the next step is nearer than your eyes can measure. You do not have to know every detail today. You do not need the complete picture. You only need enough faith to keep moving into the chapter ahead. The story is not ending in this delay. It is moving beyond it. The silence is not the final voice. The waiting is not the final season. Joy is still ahead. Hope is still alive. The path is still opening. And somewhere just beyond this moment, beyond the questions, beyond the uncertainty, beyond every silent night and every delayed answer, a new beginning waits with open doors, renewed strength, unexpected beauty, and the surprise that has been forming through every hidden lesson of this journey, ready to meet you at the moment your heart finally understands why you had to wait a little longer and why none of these days were ever wasted as the light of tea. The next season rises across the horizon of everything you thought had been delayed, and the promise of change stands ready to step into the story you have carried through every chapter until now.